This is the old mineral line where I live. It's an old railway line. Before the railway line there wasn't anything at all. No footpaths. The only way you could get to these cottages where I live was up and down these very, very muddy tracks which come down from the hills. So it must have been altogether a lot more isolated back in those days. If you climb the track east of my house, you get to this place, which is the old carriageway. It goes from the village of Roadwater right around this hill called Kingsdown to the parish of Nettlecombe, which is all very, very beautiful, and I often walk it. And indeed, I'll stroll along some of the way now, but you can't go too far at the moment because they are deforesting the whole valley. Massive forests have come down and are coming down in a sort of terrible clear fell. So a lot of them are conifers and they are a cash crop, so that was always going to happen to them. But when they clear fell hundreds and hundreds of acres, it never looks too good, does it? You just get a bare hillside left. The upside is we get these lovely birds coming here to the valley now. In the last year or two, since they've been felling the trees, we've had nightjars in the summer, which has been a wonderful ornithological treat. A little silver lining on the cloud of deforestation. You've always got to look on the bright side, especially during a COVID pandemic. Very quickly on this walk above my house, you get to a wonderful part of the old carriageway which passes lovely beech trees. You can see them overhead. And they've grown right into the wall. You can see the way the roots have just grown into the slatted slate sides of this bank here. And it's a lovely way of entering the forest which is being chopped down, alas. So you might be able to hear the chainsaws buzzing away up ahead, and I don't think I want to go any further because you basically don't know if a tree is going to fall down on your head or not, basically. Really. It's a bit naughty of them, really, because this is a public right of way, and also it's a very busy one because it's part of the Coleridge long distance trail and is walked by a lot of walkers. So all this tree felling right across it, well, yeah, a bit dodgy, and then it's a hell of a mess as well. But it's just part of living in the countryside. You can't complain about it. Just what it is. Country life. Mud, chainsaws, and landowners doing whatever it is landowners like to do. In this case, chop down bloody great big forests. Let's walk up the hill a bit into the mists and see if I can see a bit of a view, which I doubt because it's a murky, murky old day. I can hear my dog Finn barking in the valley down there in the mist. It's quite unusual because I normally have him with me, but he went with my wife to a beach. So I've come up here just to get some fresh air and to see if my GoPro is working properly. And below is the valley I live in. It's a lovely little hamlet just across there called Leland. People say Leyland, but it's Leland. Actually, the real name is Leland Chapel. I'm able to see the chapel in the shot. I don't know because it's pretty wide angle, this GoPro. But it's wonderful to walk up over these great big hills and get out of the valley, because especially in winter and especially during a COVID lockdown, you get valley fever, which is sort of West Somerset version of cabin fever. You get locked in this valley for days on end, and normally you can see all the tops of these 1,000-foot plus hills around, but not today, you can't. And normally I walk to the top, especially the top of this one, and you're treated to magnificent views of the Great Vale of West Somerset towards the coast, and of the Bristol Channel, and across the other side you can even see the Welsh Mountains. It's all very splendid, and that really does cure valley fever when you walk up over there. In the meantime though, you've got to light your log fire and get on with it, because that's part and parcel of living in the northern part of Exmoor National Park. There are big deep valleys which give the area its charm, and they give it a sort of intimacy, a sense of secrecy, which is something I've always loved. And this valley in particular is intimate and secret in its own way, because it's very difficult to find. The entrance of it is just basically what looks like an alleyway in a village. People call it the Mineral Line today, and I often imagine what it would have been like when there were steam locomotives trundling up and down from the top of those hills up there, the Brendan Hills, where there were iron mines, right down 5 or 6 miles to the ancient port of Watchet on the Bristol Channel coast, where the iron ore was put on ships and taken away, until such times in the early 1900s when Spanish iron ore came onto the market and was much cheaper, and that was the end of the mineral line, and that was the end of the mines. And that was a pretty good thing, actually, because had it gone on and on, this whole beautiful corner of Exmoor National Park would have been a lot more populated and built upon and generally messed about with. And it's not, and I love it. And there's my house way down there, and I'm going to go home out of this drizzle and light that log fire.